Well, it's 11:35 Friday. You know what that means? Tech Talk with Adam Oldfield, the president and CEO of FPM and FPM3 Marketing, is with us here in the studio. Good to have you. How are you doing today?
You know what? I've been a little
enjoying winter.
I'm not enjoying it at all. It stinks. I'm not enjoying this at all, Bill. Not at all. Not at all. At all. Nope. And I'm going to keep complaining until I can actually go back. I want to go back to Orlando. It's so beautiful down there. So, you know, enjoy the fun sunny weather. But you know what? The one thing is the people here are way better. And nobody in the States is too much of a Trump lover either. I can tell you that when I got there. So, you know, it's just the warm weather that I enjoy the most, and I miss it deeply.
Fewer and fewer of them. Well, and of course, I guess, you know, we just had a little snow for you to welcome you back.
I was like, what did I do wrong? What is it that I did wrong? I come back and this is what I'm treated with, right?
It's spring. The calendar says it's spring. I have no idea what's going on. You have talked in the past about how technology is being used by law enforcement agencies and what can happen. And of course, how basically cars can be controlled by computer. You got to tell me this story. This actually happened. This is not fictitious.
Nope.
Our good friends at Hamilton Limousine, who, by the way, are celebrating an anniversary.
15 years.
Yeah.
15 years. Yeah.
But anyway, talk to us about what happened with one of their vehicles.
You know,
this got to hear this.
This is great, and a big call out to our first responders and our police guys, because you know what, this is what's great about technology today. Number one, this past week, one of our Hamilton limo vehicles, a Suburban, was getting washed. He was outside and he had the door open with the squeegee, left his lunch in his wallet. And as he's cleaning the back of the car, in the engine running, he just literally popped out just to wipe down the last drops of water on the freshly washed Hamilton limo Suburban. And anyway, as he kind of got to the back of the vehicle, someone jumped in it and off they went and took the Suburban for a ride. And in that, didn't damage the vehicle, took it for a little joyride around. Police authorities were notified. And because it was they're all new vehicles, the Suburban was actually, being tracked by OnStar. And police are not, they obviously will turn on the lights, but if a vehicle pulls away for safety reasons, no, absolutely. But they can monitor it and they can keep an eye on it. And sure enough, they did. So for a few hours, he probably thought he was eluding the police because they're waiting. They were just waiting. I got away with it. They're nowhere. He's driving up and down the highway. He's on the 403. He's on the QEW. And so what happened was, as he pulls off one of the off ramps, the OPP and I believe it was Halton that were notified. What happened was, immediately he had to stop at the stoplight to turn left or right, thinking I'm totally good. The police were able to call OnStar and say, shut the engine down. And they can also lock the door. And sure enough, our perpetrator was apprehended by our local law authorities easily and safely and trapped within a tech-savvy environment in a safe situation. And nobody was hurt and nothing was damaged. The vehicle wasn't damaged. Nobody was damaged in the process. So that's technology at its best. We heard this with the Tesla. By the way, they happen with our North American domestic vehicles too. So
I'll bet he was surprised.
I think there's a little bit of a, hey, I'm going to make a left hand. Oh my God, why is it on? You know, and then all of a sudden you got police literally on both sides, and they managed to stop them. So anyway, thank goodness. And the vehicle was cleaned, ready to go, and no damage was done, and it was back in circulation less than 12 hours later.
The interesting thing about this is how police are using this kind of technology in coordination with, in this case, OnStar.
That's right. Yeah.
To basically say, you know, we're not allowed to do street chases anymore for safety reasons.
That's right.
So, but we can find out where you are and what you're doing, and it's not that difficult.
And it's not just isolated to OnStar. Mercedes has it. I only learned this later, that most vehicles that are purchased post 2014 all have the ability to be shut down remotely. So you have this isn't isolated exclusively to to the Tesla, as we always talked about. I think we mentioned that story a couple times. So it's actually a little bit of peace of mind. I mean, it's very worrisome. So, but you know, obviously this is a little high level. Those that are out there looking to scoff a car, you're going to have to up your game a little bit if you're going to expect to get away with it.
You were talking a few weeks ago about this rather inexpensive Chinese cell phone.
Yes.
That's out there. Now, we know that what's going on right now with the trade war and Trump issuing all sorts of things and threats against China and putting tariffs on that. How's that impacting that?
Well,
a lot of people were interested in this.
That's right.
It's cheap.
Well, we know that the OnePlus, Huawei, there's a few Chinese manufactured products, including cameras, I might add, have been pretty much been destroyed. Huawei being one of the largest manufacturers of smartphones in the world, yet won't be available in the United States. They came up with a phone that I thought was relevant, or in my opinion, a bit of a tongue-in-cheek situation. The Huawei P20, it's called, is actually going to give Samsung and most of the other providers a little run for its money for a couple reasons. Number one, it's got 3 camera lenses. This reminds me of the Gillette razor blade thing. You remember where it's like, we've got 5 blades, we've got 8 blades, this is almost coming down to the smartphone situation where now it comes with 3 camera lenses. I don't know how many camera lenses it takes to take a good photo on a phone, but that's their one selling feature. And the other one I thought was very relevant and pretty cool is that Samsung and Apple have been rumored to take the full glass display from the iPhone X and from the Samsung, where you can now put your fingerprint, not necessarily on the back of the screen or on the button at the bottom. They've been talking about a technology that you can put your fingerprint anywhere on the screen and it will recognize it. It's got a fingerprint scanner anywhere on the screen. Well, that's the one other feature this product has is a fingerprint scanner that you can touch anywhere on the screen, and it will basically recognize your fingerprint and be able to unlock your phone. That's actually pretty cool, and it's still to come out, but it's not available in the US. So as Canadians, we can still feel comfortable buying a Chinese infiltrated monitoring phone. Feel comfortable in doing that.
How many people are going to be coming across the border to buy one?
I really don't think the Huawei's that critical in regards to, I mean, there's so many options available in the US right now in regards to great products. And
don't you find there's a lot of customer loyalty?
There is. Yeah.
Like if you're an Apple guy, you're an Apple guy. You're an iPhone, you stick with iPhone. And conversely, you know, whatever one you choose. I rarely hear about people say, no, I'm going to go someplace else. I try another one.
Yeah, no, most of them, you become pretty loyal. I mean, we saw that with BlackBerry. How long did that hang out?
I mean, you're the exception. We have 17 phones.
Well, I got 6 up right now. And I mean, you know, and not to mention I run a Mac, but I have an Android. And, you know, and really I'm all about whatever does the job the most efficient. So I'm not very picky because, like I say, Apple serves its purpose. Android, I think, has a great value. But you know, it's a matter of what you need. I'm not a Windows guy. I will admit that. I'm not a Windows guy, though. I do not have any Windows except for my web department at my agency. The only people that use Windows is my web guys. So I'm an advocate of loyalty. I think a lot of people are. And it's almost getting to the point where it's like Chevy or Ford or, you know, Coke or Pepsi. When people see, you know, oh, I got an Android. Oh, you got an Android? I mean, come on. I mean, everyone should be on the Apple train. So, you know what? People are extremely loyal. And I know a lot of our listeners are because I've been commented many times after our show, what's your problem with Apple? I don't have a problem with Apple. I don't. I think they're great. I think I think it's a great product for Bill. He's very happy with it. But for me, it does what I'm looking for.
Sounded very cynical.
That's slightly cynical. Well, not all cynical. Slightly, just a little.
Speaking of phones, we're talking about global warming earlier this week and about the impact that's having. And I know that some people have tried to make this connection. These little babies heat up the longer you use them. Is this having an impact on the environment?
Well, you know,
how many phones are out there now?
Oh, I don't know the total number, but I heard it's over
1 billion.
Oh, easily over 1 billion. Absolutely. Yeah. There's more than 1 billion phones, and we're talking all phones, smartphones. Not just me in this room. Yeah. It's not the phones. This is the interesting part. There's over 1 billion phones, smartphones, electronics that are on the field right now. And there was a time when they said the desktop computer was creating a real carbon footprint problem. And really the key thing here is with smartphones, it's not the phones that creates the emitting problem. It's the production of them and the clouds that use them. We are using more. I'm going to sound like I'm on an environmental kick versus tech talk, but basically the thing is we are now using more resources that is really going to be, in my opinion, impacting the carbon footprint from the manufacturing side of it. All the electronics, all the lithium, all of the mechanics, all the metals that is being mined, manufactured, and developed into these smartphones in the billions, and we keep changing them every 2 years, Bill. Yeah. So like when we're hearing these numbers that Samsung, when we heard about the Note 5, remember that, or the Note 7, which, you know, no longer exists, I mean, we were into the numbers of 5 million to 10 million phones that didn't go anywhere, but all of the costs to manufacture those is all impacting the environment and the servers, which is going to continue to take up a lot more carbon footprint from the servers running them, from Google, Amazon, Microsoft. It takes a lot of power, a lot of energy, and that is impacting our systems because we're using them so much. Yes, it's going to take a big toll on and I don't hear a lot about it. What I hear about is there are less cars on the road than there are smartphones and tablets. And we're right on the car situation. That is pretty much minor when you take a look. I'm not going to get into the numbers specifically, but it is quite a challenge. And one last note on that point is there's less than 1% of all smartphones being recycled.
Really?
Yes, less than 1%. That is a stat I got.
There was a real buy-in for that. Apparently not.
No, less than 1%. So what are we doing with them? Landfills. And this is what's happening. People take it, they get smashed, they get crashed. And what do you do with it? Normally, you probably throw it in the recycling bin, but they're really, unless you take it apart and dissect it, similar to what you do with a fridge, they're really going into our landfill system. So that's 1 billion phones that are going, and they don't biodegrade easily, folks. These are not made of recyclable materials. So yeah, less than 1% are being recycled.
I was astounded to hear, by the way, that this technology you're talking about is really dating back to biblical times. Did you know that? You saw that Facebook meme, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right.
Actually, Moses was the first guy to download something from a cloud onto his tablet. I thought that was clever.
It is clever. That's cute. It's really cute. Yeah, exactly. The original tablet. That's right. Yeah. With no pen either. It was more of an iPad.
Yeah. I'm here till Wednesday. Do my own material. Talk to me about this new fork.
Okay. One of the things, I thought this was cute. We like talking about cute products in tech. And by the way, this one I thought was really kind of cool. How many times have you sat at a restaurant or you're sitting around the dinner table? It's Thanksgiving, it's Christmas, or even just generally you're on a Sunday dinner with the family and you get your fork and you scoop up the noodles, or you're putting your spoon in and you kind of hold it to your mouth. And what do? You do that slurping sound with your fork. We've all been there. You can hear it. It's actually one of those, my mom used to slap me all the time and go, hey, stop slurping. Stop slurping. Now chew with your mouth closed. There's a fork on the market. It's a bit clunky. So it looks like a really high intense toothbrush, electric toothbrush. But what it does is it puts a noise canceling effect and it will actually zero out the sound of slurping. Now this
is a fork with a silencer?
Yes. That's okay. That's a good way to put it. It's a fork with a silencer. But think about it. How many times you sit there and you're like, oh, that's annoying me. This person's slurping their noodles and by the way, it was invented by Cup of Soup. So Cup of Soup obviously felt there was a big issue, and a lot of people complained about the sound of what people make when they eat their cup of soup. So they came up with a noise-canceling electronic fork, and it will naturally just zero out the sound of that slurping sound you hear.
You were talking about Amazon a little while ago, and remember the fire with the smartphone and everything.
Yeah.
What's going on with it?
You know what? It was interesting. Amazon, as we know, is coming back in a way we've never seen before. Grocery markets. We hear them talking about a bank and, all of these things that are happening with Amazon and, crushing the retail market. Years ago, we had on TechTalk their launch of the Fire. The Amazon Fire was in fact, it's still a reader, a tablet reader, and they tried to come onto the market. They couldn't even give it away. I think in fact, I was looking through my notes. We spoke about where you can get an Amazon Fire smartphone for $50 because we don't even know what happened, but they had lots of inventory and all of a sudden they're off the market. So I don't think they got sold. They went to 1% non-recycling. They're coming out with another one, and which makes sense because Amazon's put a lot of money in Alexa. They've got a real big grip in regards to the shopping world, but they also run off Android. We're going to expect to see that probably next year, by 2019, you'll be able to buy, once again, an Amazon smartphone.
Excellent. Well, at first you don't succeed.
Well, first,
but I mean, look at where Amazon was then and where they are now.
Yeah, well, I like to think of it as, Apple once came out with a product called the Newton. And that came out back in the early 2000s. And this product is technically today a smartphone. I mean, it was the tablet of the 2000s. They scratched it, didn't have much luck with it, sold it, brought it back, and look, today it's the iPad. at a better level. So we can expect to see that probably Amazon's going to come out with a much stronger smartphone than we've ever imagined.
Speaking of iPhones, another model coming up?
Well, you know, this one's interesting. I was bragging, and not too long ago, in fact, it was only a couple weeks ago, I was bragging about Samsung's already coming out with the folding smartphone. They're going to be able to take their product, fold it over. Well, I could be eating crow because as of 2020, it looks like Apple will be first out of the gate unless one of the Chinese manufacturers comes out with it first. But yes, we can expect to see an Apple folding smartphone and tablet before the Samsung products come to the market.
Any idea when?
2020. They said by the spring is 2020. So they'll probably, what I've heard is they're going to launch it in the next keynote announcement, and then we can expect to see production come out. Apple usually likes to announce it and come out with it within 6 months. So there's pre-order opportunities with a price model and so forth. So I would expect that probably spring 2020, which isn't really that far away, is going to be when we'll be able to buy our first Apple folding tablet and smartphone.
You told us a few episodes ago about the smart pillow. They've already made some revisions to it.
You know, we talked about the smart pillow, which had a few features. One of them was your sleep patterns. That's great. Okay. But let's take up this one more level. And I am excited to announce that we have a smart pillow that has a few more bells and whistles. So it has the memory foam. Those are the standards you would expect in your pillow. But this one comes with noise cancellation. Again, the noise is the big issue. So when you rest your head in the pillow, it has white noise, and you can program your pillow to play certain music at certain times, and has an alarm clock in the pillow. So it will actually it will actually start the music softly, increase the sound. So as you are gradually opening your eyes, the sleep gets kind of gunky in your eye sockets. You'll be able to wake up slowly. And when you do finally rise your head off the pillow, all of that data will now be logged onto your phone. So you can see where you moved, how restless you are. But this one, the upgrade primarily with this one is it comes with a noise soft. So even if you don't sleep well, it actually comes with a sound system that you can put white noise.
People have done that in the past.
Yeah.
They want to hear the sound of the ocean or
rain or a thunderstorm.
You have to put something on your
that's
phone
right.
And just kind of let them fall asleep. And hopefully that's going to work for you.
I like to, the way I've been describing it is thinking about it as headphones in your, if you ever, some people sleep with headphones, like the cans that you've got on your head right now, the headphones, try sleeping with those. You have to lay on your back. Well, this one now you can think of it as a headphone in the pillow. You can roll around and you're not going to disturb anyone. And it's going to allow you all the soft, sweet melodies you could ever imagine before you sleep.
Almost out of time, but we could not do a show without talking about Facebook. I mean, they're in the news every day.
Well, there's lots to talk about with Facebook, and I can honestly, there's probably not enough time to discuss it, but Facebook is dropping, and we've seen that with the stock, but we're losing a lot of celebrities. We've seen Will Ferrell, we've seen Jim Carrey. They're dropping it like an anchor, and rightfully so. I mean, they're coming out with a lot more privacy features. They also launched a new element to it that allows you to see where there's fake news, but this one is the most important. I didn't even know this, that Facebook, even though you're signed off of Facebook, has been tracking your progress outside of Facebook. So what they're doing is they put a cookie in the program. If you sign in through your browser or your phone and you search the internet, Facebook is tracking you, similar to what Google did. Well, if you want to change browsers, go to Firefox. If you're using Chrome, it's called Firefox, absolutely free. You can now get a Facebook blocker, and it will 100% block any information that you're using on the internet, and it will prevent that nasty Facebook from tracking your habits and who you're speaking to.
Good stuff. We do this every Friday, 11:45. Tech Talk with Adam Oldfield. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you too, Bill.
Back after the break on 900 CHML.
Show is brought to you by Wisdom's Law. Wisdom's Law. You didn't choose to get injured, but you can choose the right